Welcome to episode number 27 of the Eavesdrop podcast. This podcast is brought to you by candidco.com/eavesdrop and also calm.com/eavesdrop. What they do is it's like meditative, the calm one. Just if you're stressed out, that's where you go. And
well, it's a brave move having me on a sponsored deal, dude.
Yeah, no, it's cool. They love it.
I like it. You live dangerously.
I do. Not only that, but they don't mind. They just want people to have fun while they're listening, and whatever the subject is, as long as it's not like overly, because you say a lot of the funniest things that I've ever heard in my life, and you push the envelope better than anybody else. But if the envelope falls off the table, that's when they'll be like, ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can just cut it all out later.
No, we won't.
I'm gonna get fucking nuts on this.
Good. So episode number 27. This is Scott Robinson, also known as Mr. Sark.
Robinson.
What? Robinson.
Whatever.
Robinson.
Robinson.
What do you mean?
Robison.
So it's never been N-S-O-N.
No, but I'm pretty sure.
No wonder you never get my emails.
Dude, I'm pretty sure it was like a misspell, like an Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Like my immigrant forefathers were like from Scott. I can't do accents or.
The only thing that you're not good at? You know what's crazy?
Hey, hail from, I'm the son of Robin.
You're right. you got it.
They're Swedish. Sweet Scots. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they just left an N off. It's been the bane of my existence. I answer to Robinson, though.
Yeah, so Scott Robinson, I didn't know that. I've known you for close to 10 years, and I never knew that. Hastro, his last name is Raphael, and when his parents migrated over here, his dad, or his grandfather not speaking, and I'm butchering a little bit the story. I don't know if his grandfather, great-grandfather, but it was Raphael, R-A-L, like Raphael, but not, they spelled it R-U-F-A-I-L.
That's what I was going to say. That's a Ruffael.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be Raphael.
Yeah.
Even when I call Siri, hey Siri, call Mike Raphael. No.
Siri, stop it.
You horrible person. You see how I saved it?
Calm. Yeah, I like it.
Sark, you are one of the funniest people, and I've ranked you this, and I don't know if it embarrasses you or makes you turn red, but I mean
it's 100% true.
You are. You are one of the top 5 funniest people I've ever listened to on the internet and on TV ever. It's accurate, right? That's you.
Yeah.
Do you know that you're funny? Do you make sometimes I'll be driving and I say inappropriate shit at inappropriate times in my head all the time, and I catch myself giggling.
I have my moments as far as being my own audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I make myself laugh sometimes.
Have you ever considered doing stand-up?
I've thought about it. Yeah, I fell in with kind of a gang of comedians in LA randomly, but that was not because of funny. That was because of video games.
Yeah.
So it was just totally random.
Yeah.
Dude, stand-up is brutal.
I bet.
Stand-up is terrifying.
Yeah. Dude, public speaking is just, tough as it is. And then when you add the responsibility of making people enjoy themselves
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest jobs. It has to be. The glamour's awesome, the money's awesome for somebody like Kevin Hart and shit. But for those who are just up and coming and especially if you're a super passionate comedian or that's what you want your life to be, and you're just not funny.
Yeah.
Or you're funny in situations, but not in a monologue. That's
wild. And you're dealing with people that are either you're hoping they're there to laugh, right? Mm-hmm. But they're also it's like a whole bunch of comedians. They're not there for you. Most likely, odds are. They want to just you're just filler till the
to the good one.
Yeah, that's so stressful.
Have you ever done it?
No,
never.
No. And I've never taken an. I've thought about doing improv. We can get into this too when we talk about production and stuff. But improv is essentially what I've been doing now for 10 years, and I've never had any formal training. And I've thought maybe I should go do that.
I mean, I'm doing this.
I mean, if I'm this funny now, dude, I'd be a god.
Yeah,
with a little
with a little training, a little tuning, a little polishing.
Like that look into my camera, Matt.
The hair's longer.
Yeah. Do you see this dent?
I do.
You see
I saw it from the side.
Yeah.
And when I was over there, I was gonna ask you if that's from the headsets.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah. No, my wife thinks that it's actually dented my skull, and I don't think from an evolutionary standpoint, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's just compressed my scalp.
Yeah. It would take years. You know the African ladies that put that stretch their necks. I think that they would have to do it from the beginning of
the neck people.
Yeah, the neck people. So you would have to do the same thing. Like you would literally have to wear a band, like a rubber band around.
Yeah.
You know the birthday
with weights.
Yeah.
On my headset. Yeah. I'm like, I want my head to look like a like a heart.
Like San Fernando Valley. I want that to be my head.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder of the West Coast. Okay, so before I ask you like why you moved from LA to here, I mean the obvious reason for me is I was just there a couple of days ago and I saw and smelled piss. I saw a guy pooping. It was quick though because I was in my Uber and I was driving by and I see the dude taking a dump behind the dumpster. And
then you got out of Hutch's apartment. It was a lot better, right?
Yeah. And then once I left Hutch's apartment, the fresh air started to hit me, and it became really good. Sark, I like to start all my podcasts by asking a very simple question, and that is, who are you today?
Who am I today?
Yeah.
Geez, that's a real existential. I'm a dad. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a dad.
Are you the ultimate dad?
No. I don't think so. But I'm pretty goddamn awesome.
Yeah.
As far as like if Tabe reviewed my dadhood.
Yeah, Tabe. He needs to be on the podcast.
We're gonna Hecz and I have not caught up in ages, so there's gonna be a lot of little asides where
when you said Tabe, I'm like, oh my God, that's my friend. That's my Swedish, like almost man friend who used to sleep on a couch here, and I used to sleep on a air blow up mattress there in the Burbank apartments. He would get up in the middle of the night with nothing on except for his skin colored tidy undies.
Yeah,
and
man, I envy you that.
Why?
Because he's a snack.
Yeah,
Tabe.
He is. He looks like a snack.
Yeah. Everyone from Sweden does. Orb?
Yeah.
Man, I just want to...
Incredible orb.
Trace their
lineage?
No, their bodily lines.
Yeah. The
my
happy
eyes
trails?
And my tongue. Yeah. The abs and the pecs. And...
You know what's crazy is that Tabe used to wake me up and be like, Hecz, you're snoring. Hecz, you're snoring. And then I'd be like, oh, my bad, bro, my bad. But I don't snore that much anymore. Only when I'm like super drunk, my wife says. But he would wake me up and say, hey, you're snoring. And I would be like, all right, cool. And then he would get up to go. I'm like, dude, what's up, man? Fucking put some shorts on.
Yeah, and he's wearing it. Yeah, it's a little tiny.
Playing, what was that Galaga Wars? The
Geometry Wars. Oh, yeah. They went on a real frenzy with that.
They did. Anyway, so he was doing that. So your father, what are you doing nowadays?
My time is spent kicking it with the fam. It's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And then copious amounts of editing.
Yeah.
Footage. For
your videos are insanely edited. I mean, even just the text alone that you put in there like has to take you hours on end. Why do you try so hard? Somebody as funny as you.
I know, dude. This is where I cry. I'd be so rich if I didn't try so hard.
That's the thing. Think about that.
Yeah.
You're in a position.
I think about it all the time.
You're in a position where most humans have to try their asses off to make an incredible living. You're the opposite. You should try less to make, a better living.
Yeah. I know. Oh man.
But you like it,
my wife's going to watch this and she's going to be like, preach it, Hector.
Yeah. She tells you the same thing.
Yeah.
Mrs. Robinson.
So with me, it's the collision of, it's all rooted in why I got into production in the first place. So it's the collision of the creative and the pragmatic producer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to be able to access both sides of those, but generally both sides of that, those schools of thought, but generally the creative side wins.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sort of what I've had innately.
Yeah.
And that the producer stuff I picked up on through the years. So like for example, with my videos, the producer side of me is like, what the fuck are you doing? It's a video like gameplay, let's play with your pals. And then the creative side of me is like, shut up, prude.
Yeah.
I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
and then I'm editing for, like just as of like the time we're recording this, the last video I uploaded is a perfect example. I sat down and I'd played some Apex Legends, which is a game I really, I'm kind of bored of BRs and I barely play it, but I'll play it with the pals.
Yeah.
So I sat down, I played some with Hutch and APL, had fun, sucked balls.
Yeah.
And then at the end I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this footage as a test.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bang out like an
regular
easy,
gameplay.
quick throwaway vid, put it up, be comfortable with it. And then it was like 6 days later, I'm finishing up editing the first half of it, and that's the video.
How long was the video?
It was actually pretty long, longer than normal for me. So it's about 19 minutes of footage, culled from like an hour and a half. But some of that's lobby, some of that's us like talking and me ribbing Hutch about politics and all this. And I think
I do that too.
I think it's fun, but it's just hard when I watch it. It's hard for me not to take a joke to the
absolute extreme,
to the end. To the if I see something and I feel like you could like squeeze like another chuckle out of it, I'll spend 6 hours doing that, which I did in that video. I made fun of what's that like senator that he loves. I called her Casio Ortez or something like that.
Oh, Casio,
okay, something like that. I ended up like spending hours. Yeah, it's a lot. You'd have to watch the video to understand it, but I ended up spending forever like animating her face onto keyboard cat, and it just took forever. And it was all it's literally a half a second.
But it was all for you though.
Yeah, I mean like,
because all the audience appreciates it. Like it's amazing that you take not only the pride in doing it, but just to make yourself laugh, like the way that you see it happening.
Yeah.
It's good.
Also the like part of the art is that if you do it right, it's like a good visual effect in a movie or the score is a lot of times it's the ones you don't notice, right?
Yeah.
So if you do it right, it shouldn't look like it took you forever.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a.
What I was thinking though too, as you were about to start describing it, my head said, "This is what he's going to say." I thought that you were going to say that more often than not, you see the joke in your head, and sometimes you're not able to describe the situation as well as you could. So in the editing process, I thought that you were going to say, it was like, I'm trying to display the funny that I saw in my head on the screen for everybody to find the visual.
I'll do that with the game. So like sometimes stuff sort of innocuous happens in a game. So like in that video, another good example is APL and Hutch get trapped in a room, and Hutch is freaking out because there's smoke everywhere. But I'm somewhere else. I don't see it.
And it's not coming from his old cigarettes or his bond.
Well, no, I turned that into part of the joke, right? Yeah. So I'm not seeing any of that. But I went and downloaded their Twitch VODs, and then put his footage to like some Rasta.
Yeah.
And then I cut to it and muted the audio and all that because I was like, that's something really funny happening.
Yeah.
And they call it like when you're if you're a script doctor in Hollywood, they call it you're doing punch-ups, right? So a studio will send a script to a writer and they'll ask them to punch it up, make it funnier, peppier, whatever. And so that's like I'm always trying to punch up everything. So that was a funny scene that I was like, I can either cut it out or let it play kind of in the background and have it just be them freaking, or I can like take it to its final form, and that's what I end up doing, and then it just takes forever.
Yeah.
And then the producer side of my brain is like what are you doing? I'm literally like it's like the director and the studios that clash, when like Fox is like telling James Cameron Titanic costs too much, and he's like, fuck you, I'm James Cameron, whatever. And they're communicating through personal assistants. That's happening in my brain.
In the little dent that you've created for yourself.
The dent is the border.
Yeah, it's like the creative of the whatever, medulla and going forward. That's crazy. I
mean, in that 6 hours I took animating that shit, like, people could have put up a whole video. Chilled would have had a whole video done.
Yeah. But it's also like sort of have you thought about getting an editor? I recently just got Maddie last year when I started doing
Good work, by the way. Yeah. I have. I've tried.
All right.
I'll get your business card after this.
Yeah.
I have. I've tried a few. One I was trying to like really grow like my own little sea monkey.
Yeah.
Like he was a writer, so he understood and not an editor. So he understood pacing and narrative, but not. God, this sounds so pretentious to apply to
a YouTube video.
A video game, an Apex Legends Let's Play or whatever. Yeah. That's how I approach it, though, and I've had mixed success. Usually, so far, having an editor has only cost me money because running it through what they ended up calling like the Sark pass, where essentially I'm fine-tuning it, has not been worth paying somebody to get me to that point. So eventually I just sort of started doing it on my own again. Because there's probably about 20 vids on my channel where somebody had cut it, submitted it, and then I would have paid them. So I was paying like $350. I think that's more than most YouTube Let's Play editors are getting paid, at least for channels my size.
$350,000 a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a multi-millionaire. Yeah. No, $350 a video.
Yeah.
And it just ended up being too much time and work, and I was like, I've already paid them. Now I'm spending all this time, and
And does it average out for you the what the video makes in the cost?
Barely. Yeah. For me, because my channel's not huge. Yeah. So
see that for me, like that, I always like deduct it down to that. It's like, fuck, can I afford to do this to where the money's still being made and I'm still being able to do that?
So I was like breaking even. Pretty much, but there is the added benefit of, okay, so even if I don't make any money on this video, at least the video went up. Yeah. So I'm like, YouTube's the algorithm's not forgetting about me or whatever, but I figured eventually I just need to like let the producer half of the brain win a few more battles and try and so lately I've been really trying to crank them out and know when I need to just let something go. Trying with mixed success, but because a lot of gaming editors, they're doing it's flashy. I call it meme. I call it meme editing. Yeah. You'll know what I'm talking about.
When they zoom into the face and then move it around.
Yeah, and the motion track and the funny hand gesture and cut to ladies and gentlemen, we got him, and then the SWAT team breaking in or whatever. That stuff's funny, but it's all right. It's pretty been done, what I mean? So a lot of the YouTube gaming editors have a lean towards that. So, and I'm I'm heavily the other way. I think the harder part of editing is not the technical, flashy transition, montagey stuff, which is a valuable, of course, tool set to have, but I'm more about the narrative, making a video have a nice pace and strong opens, big finishes, Yeah.
Do you go back and watch your videos?
Very few. I'll watch some of the old inbox now, but I didn't used to do that either. So.
I was in one of the inboxes.
You were? Yeah. I thought about bringing a Mexican flag.
No, you had the piñata. little. So good. You wouldn't be able to get away with that now. Well, maybe you would be able to get away with it now.
Yeah, I think you can. You can.
Yeah.
The problem is
it's a lot easier to get away with it when you know that person's not racist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if it's a complete stranger,
sensitivity's way higher.
Yeah.
Towing the line has become. You used to have a lot more flex, right? You could cross the line and be like, better reel it back in. Now you get canceled. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
if you go too far.
Stop it immediately.
So I feel like there's a lot more people getting canceled. Yeah. There's a lot more people playing it safe. And the actual riding the line, which is difficult, there's not as many people doing that anymore.
No, there isn't. I wanna talk to you. How did you get out? Before we talk about Machinima and how you got there, what happened? What were you doing before that? G4, Sarkathlon, right? You had a show on G4?
Yeah.
Well, tell me how you got to the gaming side of your life.
Right. Somebody just asked me about this. People are fascinated by the
Who were you back then?
So, let's see. So I moved. So this sort of comes from in high school. I wanted to make games.
Okay.
So I was taking.
How old are you today?
I've always loved gaming.
How old are you now?
Just turned 43.
Okay.
Yeah. Always loved games. And so I studied, so this is back in the early 90s when I was in high school. And by the way, people still think I actually fought in Nam. We can get into that too.
Yeah.
Later. People believe that, which is depressing because that means they're either like
dumb
idiots or they think
old.
I'm 90.
Yeah.
both bum me out. No, I was in high school, loved games, thought I want to make games. And specifically I want to move to Japan.
Yeah.
So I took 4 years of Japanese and I was studying Pascal, the programming language at the time.
Yeah.
But that, again, the division of the brain, the math side of my brain is rather pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So programming and I didn't get along too well. We had a project where it's like program a working set of streetlights.
Yeah.
And my teacher was like, so many people die in this intersection. You suck. And I'm thinking, dude, I want to go make Final Fantasy games. He's like, good luck. So I had to get, change plans. I had a bit of a realization though. I was like, okay, so the stuff I really, all the things that I wanted to do in games, it was better applied in movies.
Okay.
Which was technically my first, I never even thought about getting into entertainment like TV movies, but that ended up being, that's where it like clicked. The making the games never really gelled. And then when I was like, what about making movies? And I was like, that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So then the plans changed.
Give me a timeline, like 1990.
So that was like 90 to 94, making games.
Okay.
Then I worked a little after high school because at the time I was still living at home. So, parents' house, parents' rules. I was still going to church with them, right? So a lot of people know this, some people don't, but I was like raised Mormon.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no.
What's that mean?
That's a shock to a lot of people, but...
Yeah, the way you act.
Yeah, Mormons. That's like, polygamy, Utah, magic
yeah,
underwear. Yeah.
Big Love on HBO.
Big Love.
Right? Isn't that the name of it?
Yeah.
Wait, so what was the...
They don't actually practice polygamy anymore, but
when you were
in their defense, but I love to give them
But
shit
your dad
for it.
did. So growing up, you had like 5 moms.
Yeah. Mommy, mama, mom, ma. But the reason why that's a key part of the timeline is because from 95 to 97, after high school, I did the 2-year mission, right? Where you're wearing the tie and you're knocking on doors and you're like...
Did you have the is that... No, that's not the thing.
Are you talking about like Hasidic Jews dreadlocks? Holy shit!
I'm sorry,
man.
I'm from Mexico. I grew up in Mexico. I was born here. Sometimes I get my things confused.
Okay, all right. This is how you do this is your like secrets. Were you a...
What did you call them? Yeah.
No, so I did the whole knocking on the door and that whole deal. And over the course of that mission, I had a personal sort of epiphany where I was like, this is not really my scene. I don't buy
because the internet didn't exist in those days, or it wasn't.
I hadn't invented it yet.
No.
Yeah.
So, what made you create it? That you had the epiphany. The epiphany
to spread my atheist message, dude. No. I finished my mission because I was like, dude, this is when you're a Mormon kid.
What's the mission? Yeah, tell me about the mission.
That's just like a planned chapter of your life. It's like going to college, right? Like this is just what you're going to do. All the like young men go on this 2-year mission, and you just go and you spread the gospel or whatever, and you proselyte and you do all this stuff.
So it's like a pilgrimage. You just walk around and
and you're assigned to like you turn in your papers and they, through revelation or something, they send you where you need to be. And
why'd you do this?
Because that's what I picture them doing, like casting a spell. Excuse me. All my friends, so languages you speak have an effect on that, and all my friends who I took Japanese with so that I could eventually go and like kill people with badly programmed intersections in Japan, they all went to Japan. All my buddies. And I was like, dude, sweet. Even if I'm not going to make games, I'm going to get a 2-year stint in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be great. And they went Japan, and then I was sent to San Diego.
Yeah.
I was like, English speaking.
Close. So you were almost... You were going in the right direction.
Yeah, which ends up being really cushy. I mean, that's like a vacation, but... Yeah, it ended up not being like... It ended up not being for me. I don't, you know... I was sort of a wild card on the mission. They would tell me stuff like, I would buzz my hair, just like I always have.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can't feel the spirit unless you cut your hair like in this picture, right? And they'd show me a picture of...
Is that the bowl cut?
No, that's Amish, dude! Or is it? Now am I being...
No, those are the Catholics, right? With the bald...
Oh, like the little altar boy looking dudes? Yeah, no. They have like... It looked more like Hitler's Youth.
Yeah.
Like a high and tight, sharp part, right? Like...
Yeah.
And he was like the guy. You had to cut your hair like the guy. And I would buzz my hair. They'd be like, I don't know about this. And then they would tell us stuff like, you can't... Again, this is not...
Yeah.
I don't want to like shine a bad light on all Mormons because there's great people out there. But I butted heads with people that were a little too official about it. They'd say like, don't walk down the magazine. My mission president, the guy over our area, would be like, don't walk down the magazine aisle of the grocery store because you can't feel the light of Christ down there. Because I don't know, is there like a lowrider magazine with bikinis on it or something?
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
Lowrider magazine.
Anyway, I powered through.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we could do a whole podcast on my mission. I totaled cars. At the end of my mission president was like, Elder Robinson, your mission has cost the church more money than 20 normal missions.
Yeah.
With all your medical bills, the cars you destroyed.
Okay, we're making a movie about that.
Yeah. Because in certain areas, if it's hilly or large, you get a car. And obviously, if I'm getting like a disposable Toyota Tercel, I'm going to try and jump it. Right? That's like, because it's not mine. And imagine somebody just gives you a piece of shit car and you can do anything you want. I'm going to try and jump it. I had a perfect spot. I did too. 4 wheels off the ground.
Yeah.
Didn't make the turn afterwards, wiped out into a guy's front yard, bent both axles, totaled the car, whatever. That's a whole ordeal. Didn't go over well with the church. Got out of there, and then when I'd made so many friends in San Diego on the mission. When I went home, at the time, home was Oregon. My parents were living in Oregon. Mm-hmm. I went right back to San Diego, and started waiting tables. That's where I had like my Olive Garden time that I commiserate with Hutch on. Actually, we had a fun time. We didn't work at the same one, but we can share.
Yeah.
It's all the same. You've been doing Olive Gardens, right?
Yep. Love it.
And then eventually, and we would so I was all into movies. I couldn't afford film school. I had maxed like, I had no money. I was just waiting tables and getting by, and we would rent, my roommate, Crazy Josh, and I would rent movies, stacks of 10 at a time. That was the max that we could, and then we would watch them like it was our job.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years of just consuming copious amounts of movies, like unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's not like, I see every movie that comes out in the theater.
Like VHS.
Multiply that times. Yeah, we were alphabetically at the...
Was he trying to get into the film industry as well, or?
No, he's just out of his mind.
Crazy.
So yeah,
Crazy
he slept
Josh.
in a coffin. He had he spoke to the black widows that were in his room.
Yeah.
He didn't. I was like, you should kill those. They're poisonous and they'll bite you and hurt you. And he said, no, we have a truce. God, he was amazing.
What was his name? Crazy Josh.
Crazy Josh. Yeah.
We
can do a podcast about. I know we could do segues into so many different things.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
I did a D&D podcast with some friends.
Okay.
Where we played Dungeons and Dragons. This was like back when pretty much only Harmontown, like Dan Harmon was doing it. So pre Critical Role, which I love, by the way. In fact, I love anybody who's playing tabletop games. I'm a fan of. So
yeah.
But we did that. It was super fun. Called Nerd Poker.
Okay.
And that was it. I thought
Nerd Poker's a good fucking name.
Yeah.
Dude,
that was D&D with comedian. It was Brian Posehn's deal. Nerd Poker, Dungeons and Dragons, or like D&D with Brian Posehn and friends or whatever. But yeah, I should do a podcast. The fuck is my problem?
What is your problem? You have a viewer in me, 1,000%.
Collision.
Anyway, so you fast forward a little bit, and you're working at
waiting tables in San Diego, watching tons of movies, wishing I could somehow get into the film business. And finally, I see an ad in a paper for the New York Film Academy. And you'll see these if you, in entertainment mags or whatever. It's a little bit more legit than it was then, but they had like an office in LA at Universal Studios, and they run these like 8-week, 6-month programs. And the one that caught my eye was like massively discounted over Christmas. It was like, come up, do like a 6-week deal over Christmas. So this would have been in either 99 or 2000. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to do it. So I applied for credit cards, maxed them all out in order to pay like
tuition
month, like month rent and deposit on like a little, they call it an efficiency unit. That's like it's basically like a
this?
Closet.
So not as big as this?
No. I could, so it's an apartment. It's like a deep Tokyo level shit, right? Where you're just stacked in there. So there's no kitchen. I had to have a hot plate. Like I could lay on my bed and I could turn my TV on with one foot and play like Ghost Recon. Yeah. And with the other foot, I could open the fridge. Like this place was small. So I moved up to LA to do this program, and that was sort of, I made the most of that, and it was a piece of shit. It was bad. They gave us like 16 millimeter cameras that were actually used in World War II, that were like dinged up from World War II. Yeah. I joked that like there was like blood from Normandy on ours, but I was only half joking. There was stains on it, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Oh, shit.
So, and there's digital shit that you could edit on, like Final Cut was a thing. This place was, and you could only pay, they made me pay in cash. I'm like, dude, so there's no paper trail? You guys are totally illegal. But the thing that they had was, they let you shoot on Universal. So when you went and shot with your World War II camera with no audio, you could shoot on the Universal lot, right? And that was like dope. So you're shooting on the Jurassic Park set, and the Universal trams are coming by, and they think that you're a legit production, you know? They're all taking pictures of you, and they're filming your shit, and you did this whole thing where they break you into groups of 4, and you rotate. I'm a director and sound guy, and then you rotate for each other's projects, so you learn a little. Whatever. I just wanted a camera and needed to shoot some shit, and I made a friend there specifically who then his name's Tori Mel. Shout out to Tori.
Shout out to Tori.
Yeah. He was like my first pal in LA. Everyone else in that group couldn't speak English, so the friend circle just sort of bloomed through him, and then it grew. Yeah. So eventually what happened is I was waiting tables in LA.
Don't tell me you got discovered by G4.
No. So what happened is, it's weird, dude. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's such a complicated line of things. So Tori, I ended up randomly, I don't know how.
Just say it, man.
Okay, so one of Tori's friends was Amit Zappa, right? Frank Zappa's son. And I ended up dating his sister, Diva Zappa. So this began what me and like the pals jokingly called like the rock star years, because I was just this nobody that people thought was funny or whatever, but it was just like there's no pedigree or nothing. I haven't done anything, but I'm being sort of pulled along through the now like Zappa connection to all this stuff, and it was just so fun and stressful and terrifying, and And through that, I ended up going to a Halo night.
Yeah.
That Diva, my girlfriend at the time, had been invited to. That was all these comedians and actors, right? So it was all the guys from Mr. Show. I don't know if you remember that. That's like Bob Odenkirk, and he's like the guy from Better Call Saul.
Okay, yeah.
Whole bunch of these dudes had a Halo LAN party that they did every Friday. They called it the Hollywood Halo Social Club. So from there, I made friends with all these guys, and one of them ended up writing at Attack of the Show at G4. And then when X-Play at G4 was like, we're looking for PAs, and he knew that at the time I was installing custom cable installation, crawling through cat shit and raccoon, like cellars and shit. He was like, dude, I know a guy who's a gamer. You should totally hire him. And I scooted in at the bottom, like rung of X-Play that way through a connection over on Attack of the Show.
For like for that, as
doing
a
PA stuff,
okay.
helping fetching like Sessler his like beef
God.
jerky and
you just remember like that name hadn't been brought up in my head in a long time.
And Morgan Webb. Yep. It was really fun. And I started like at the bottom of that and eventually sort of moved up and I didn't move up the ranks so much as sort of my responsibilities grew to where I was writing a lot of games.
How do you go from being a PA to being on camera talent?
So that's another critical moment.
Yeah.
Because I never wanted to be on camera ever.
Okay.
And I had pitched a thing to the executive producer. I was like, dude, what about this idea where... Because one of the things they struggled with at X-Play was this idea of Sessler and Webb not being gamers, right? Like, and they just didn't necessarily play all the, like, they weren't playing Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
They liked Ratchet and Clank or whatever. And so they didn't have a lot of like hardcore gaming cred. And so I pitched a thing where let's get them playing with viewers. I think viewers would think that was cool. And the executive producer was like, Morgan and Adam are not going to want to have anything to do with that. Yeah. I don't blame them actually, but and he's like, you do it. You're going to do it. And I was like, well, let's pump the brakes here. And that ended up falling into my... So that was like half on camera. So what would happen there is I did some stuff on X-Play where... And I still want to do stuff like this. It's kind of like stunts. So we would do stuff like... What map was it in COD? And what COD even was it? Where you crawl through there was the like Berlin Wall and the machine guns, the auto machine guns looked over the center area. It was kind of snowy. Do you remember that? Black Ops 1. Okay, so... Is that right?
Yeah.
So I was doing a thing...
What year was this?
I don't know, man.
Okay, so it was definitely not Call of Duty 4 because there was no snowy maps in Call of Duty 4. World at War? May have been World at War? It couldn't have been World at War.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe. It was with the No Man's Land and the auto turrets.
Yeah.
That seems like Black Ops.
Yeah.
Anyway, the stuff like everyone, like, we do a thing where I fill a lobby and we all throw smoke grenades and then we prone through that and anyone who gets to the end wins. Like little funny stuff like that, right? And it was such a pain to herd the cats, right? To get everyone to cooperate and not have everyone like one dude decides to like slay out or whatever.
There's always that one guy.
Yeah. So what it started out as is me doing that stuff, and then I would come on the show and do a host rap. So Sessler would be like, all right, Mr. Sark, tell us about your latest
adventure.
Yeah, and I'd be like, hey, thanks, Adam. And then I would do the thing, and then I was just like pants shitting, like terrified of that. Because that's like a whole studio. It's like, 30 people back in the dark watching, and no one gives a shit. They're all like, dude, we just want to go on break. Don't fuck your lines up, dickhead. And I'm like...
I've never done anything like it.
I was writing and producing segments for them, so like game reviews. And the way the X-Play worked is the segment producers, which I never was officially. I was an associate producer, but I was producing segments because that's also how entertainment works, is you just ride to success on the backs of slaves.
Yeah.
But we would write the review, then you go and you have whoever had been assigned to read it, Adam or Morgan, they would read it, and then you would take their VO and the gameplay that you'd captured in and sit with an editor and you'd cut your segment.
Yeah. Jesus.
And that's how those segments worked. And eventually they were, now I was doing that and then doing these little on-camera things. And then one day, G4 was always kind of in trouble, I felt like.
Yeah.
Because sort of...
Who was watching?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Cheat. Remember that show Cheat?
No, I never watched G4.
No, that had Kirsten.
It may have been ahead of its time though too. I think if there was a G4 channel right now, it would pop. Done the right way.
Right. I think you could do it. Yeah. But they missed the boat on a lot of shit. Like a cheat show, dude. No one's looking for codes. No one's calling the Nintendo Power hotline anymore.
No.
It's like, just get on.
Was that a thing? You used to go out, call the Nintendo Power hotline and get like
you call
clues?
like, make sure you get permission from your parents, and you call the numbers in the magazines. Yeah. How do I pass this Zelda boss?
Yeah, and they will tell you.
Yeah, but you're paying like $3 a minute.
Oh shit! And they would tell us like, hold on, let me see, let me get to the page. Hold on, because there's no.
You're listening to a recording like
of the game. All right, so you get to Machinima. How do you get to
Machinima? So eventually Machinima is this upstart internet entity, right? It's nothing big. Machinima is Red versus Blue and Freeman's Mind, basically, and Inside Gaming.
Was Inside Gaming before Respawn?
Yeah.
Who was that? Kale?
Kovic. I don't know.
Kovic?
Yeah, Kale.
Mr. Adam Kovic.
Kale had been there a long time. Kovic was like in the first 5 people to work at Machinima, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
also, he's like a billionaire.
No, backs of slaves, remember.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So what happened is Machinima was kind of like this rebel entity, and everyone who really played, like everyone who's a diehard gamer knew about what they were doing. And so you'd watch stuff like, I remember watching C-Nanner's videos before I ever knew. I used to call him the educated gamer because he always sounded so, hello everyone. Like, now I'm, now I've got my gunship and they're about to not have a good time on Afghan. I don't know why he sounds like Barack Obama. Accents are my thing, dude.
He does sound like that, though. You did a really good impression of him.
So what happened is some people that were, perpetually the rotation of layoffs and, whatever, they'd gotten booted off of G4. They ended up over at Machinima. And they sort of were like, hey, we know this guy back on X-Play who'd be good over here.
The internet was made for this guy, is what I would have said.
Right. Well, and that's what they really did like pursue. It was kind of cool. They kind of like poached. It wasn't legally poaching, but even though that did come up later as a thing, twice. G4 was like, dude, you're poaching because enough people had gone to Machinima.
Yeah.
Especially after me. So they accused me of
leading the charge. Being Moses.
Yeah. And then that happened later when I left Machinima. I got the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was very funny how G4 was this aging, rotten fruit in the fridge, and Machinima was like this new papaya. And then by the time I left, G4 is this rotten, shitty papaya, and I'm leaving to do my own shit, right? I'm a beautiful kiwi.
Your hair looks like a kiwi. It's fucking good.
So they brought me over, and I got so much shit from the G4 people, like, dude, you're working on TV here. Yeah. And you are going to the internet, and that is just viewed as a step backwards. They were like, what a step backwards. Yeah. And I'm like,
it was worse than going back to radio.
Yeah, totally.
I know.
Well, I mean, in their eyes, but it's like, yeah, but how many eyes are you getting, and how many eyes are they getting?
Yeah.
Dude, G4, you don't know about Hurl, right?
No.
You guys probably, some of you guys do. G4 put out a show called Hurl, and it's a show where you eat, it's an eating contest.
Yeah.
And then you go on something that's supposed to make you throw up, right?
Okay.
And I forget the exact rules. I think it's like the last person to puke wins or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to watch this show? People who are into puke humor. Yeah. That's already a pretty narrow audience. But then they censored out the puke. So now you've made a show, like an actual show that science would have conceived of for nobody.
Yeah.
Right? Like scientists would be like, we've done it.
Yeah.
We've made a show that zero people will be interested in. And when they released it, the TV ratings, it was 0, which means, I think that means less than 1,000 people watched it. So it didn't even, the meter didn't even
No.
No. And I've never heard of that in any show ever. Yeah. I've never heard of a show.
I mean, imagine the odds of people flipping through the channel in those times. The fact that not 2,000 people in all of America were able to synchronize their controller past a certain thing to bump that beep a little bit. That is insane. They couldn't make that happen even if they tried.
No. And they were trying to make a hit. God, G4 sucked. Anyway. And then they're giving me shit about moving to Machinima. So I move over to Machinima to help into the capacity of creative director at Respawn. So the idea initially was I would be on camera, but it wouldn't be, it may be in like doing what people now think of. Because what was happening was gameplay commentary was blowing up.
Yeah, around 2010?
So this is the bottom third of 2009, right?
Okay,
Summer on. And what was happening is the Machinima channel was getting like clogged, right? So they have all their animations, their red versus blues, their Freeman's Mines, all that. And then there's gameplay. And there's obviously like a competition. Like the animators are like, well, there's all this lazy shit you're doing, but people are loving watching it, and Machinima knows that they're onto something. And so they created Respawn to separate that. So the animation, the produced stuff goes over here, and the gameplay stuff goes over here.
I used to love it when they uploaded my videos to the main channel.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Because they had such a huge audience at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they brought me in to basically they knew that there would be tons of videos going up on Respawn. Tons. And so they wanted me to help do like call outs were a big thing back then.
Yeah.
They wanted me to do what they called a hub show, where every week or every, some odd days we would do a thing and we would point you to what's hot and what's up and coming or whatever. Hey, you guys might like this, you might like that, here's why, and whatever. So that's initially what I was brought in to do, because there was no creative directing what was going on to the channel.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing that on their, doing their own thing. They just brought me in to sort of be like the
captain, the tourist, the tour guide.
The tour guide for the viewer. Yeah. That's where that went. Eventually they hired Hutch, which was another kind of watershed moment where a guy had, at the time, that was a big deal because it was sort of like a step up in legitimacy, and even though he should have stayed at home. Yeah. Yeah. I told him, I'm like, he's like, this is what I'm going to ask for. And I'm like, double that. He's like, no, that's too crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, and he didn't. Stupid idiot.
Where are you now, Hutch?
Yeah.
Oh, he's
killing it now. He's doing great.
Oh, he's amazing. Dude, one of my favorite people in the world. And I mean that. From the beginning, not only just as his teammate, but then becoming a fan when he went on Respawn.
Yeah.
But just everything about him I enjoy. And he couldn't live anywhere else if the internet didn't exist, in my opinion, because he, as you know, is so gullible that you are able to really entertain yourself just in saying, like, man, how much shit can I make this dude believe? He's
a lot better now, though, don't you think? No? You still troll him?
Yeah, really good and easy too.
Okay.
I just sent them a meme where it says, Tiger Woods during Obama's, administration, and he's just like the worst Tiger Woods in the history of Tiger Woods' career. And then Tiger Woods now under Trump's presidency to win the best.
See, this is why, dude. This is why I don't trust. Like, I have a running gag with him where I don't trust his review of anything.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'll give it 6 months.
Yeah,
because he's so he's fiery. I like it.
He's so good. No, because he doesn't get into it. Just this morning, he was getting into an argument with somebody that was commenting on on our video that we did together for the Eavesdrop, and it was moronic people typing moronic shit. But he, lets it get to him and tries to correct him. Which, look, yeah. I'm a big believer in, if someone's like, I find it sometimes that I believe that it's my job to tell people when they're being fucking morons, and I try to correct them. But he, I don't know if it was a true statement or if they meant it or whatever. But he was like, going back and forth with people in the comments.
He over engages. He engages and then he over engages. Yeah.
So he moves in, right? And then you guys have the show. Like, I remember clearly because it was such a pivotal moment in gaming history, in not just gaming, like in gaming entertainment history. If Machinima Respawn didn't exist the way that it existed when you guys made it exist, the industry wouldn't be the way that it is today. Would it have gotten to where it is today? Who knows? Maybe the internet's wild.
I think it would have. It would have just been a little bit delayed.
Yeah, but that like helped. And when he was telling me the story last week about how he got there and how nervous he was to meet you and to be on that, it was one of those things where you can totally see it happening, because I know that I would be as outgoing as I am. It would be a lot of pressure to be put in front of an audience that doesn't know you, doesn't know a lot of you, and no matter how popular he was, and he was super popular back then. This was a different audience because there was some migration happening from the main channel into this new thing because of the promotion from the main channel. So nobody knew what was really going to be developed out of this thing.
Right.
And this sort of became like from my eyes, from a viewer side, the standard in what like the entertainment was going to be.
The irony is that I'm the one that was nervous, like, sweating bullets because I'm in front of. He's got the home crowd.
Yeah. And
I'm the one who's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
So suddenly I'm facing these, like, what are your gaming credentials?
Yeah.
Like, and eventually I had to just be like, well, that's not my, I'll play games and everything, but my scene, just like I do now, it's like my scene is, like, interest that I build is in me, right? Like, I want somebody to be able to be entertained watching me not game, something I love, play a game I hate, right? It should just be, which I think is everybody sort of morphed into, now it's the Hutch show. His stream is the Hutch show, and I think that's healthy. But it didn't used to be. No. It used to be like, why should I listen to you?
Yeah, and it was like a 50-50. Like the game had to be familiar enough for somebody to connect with the video game. That's what we have in common. And then the other half would be the personality. We talked about it, how he never expected, nobody did for that matter, never expected YouTube or this genre to become more about the person than it was the thing that brought them together.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before you say anything, let me give a quick shout out to the sponsors. Our first sponsor coming back for a second, third, fourth. I don't even know how many weeks. These guys are such big supporters of the Eavesdrop that we cannot thank them enough. And it's candidco.com/eavesdrop. Have you ever had a problem with your teeth that you've always wanted to get fixed? I have an option that can help. You won't need to go through the hassle of long-term treatment or wire braces, and you can do it all from the comfort of your own home. It is a company called Candid. Candid is helping people gain confidence with the accessible and affordable orthodontic care. Candid makes the process of straightening your teeth inconvenient and easy by having the customer take the process into their own hands. So you don't even have to go somewhere. You literally get the mold done into your teeth, and then you send it in, and then they give you a whole array of different options. Because Candid makes clear aligners that are sent directly to your home and are customized specifically for you to straighten your crooked ass teeth. The aligners fix your crooked teeth, crowding, protrusions, and gaps. The first step is to purchase the molding kit, which will be sent to your home so you can take the impressions of your teeth. The molding kit retails for $95, all right? But the good thing is that Candid's network of orthodontists reviews your specific case and provides you with a 3D preview of what your treatment will look like. Having a real orthodontist is the main reason that you will love Candid. Other companies use dental professionals, whatever that means. It is completely up to you if you want to move forward with the clear alignment treatment plan. You can also talk to a real person at any time if you have questions. Candid's treatment time is an average of 6 months and will literally save you thousands of dollars compared to the other guys. You're one step away from getting straighter, whiter teeth. Take advantage of Candid's risk-free molding kit guarantee. Plus, when you use my dedicated link, candidcode.com/eavesdrop, you're going to save 25% of your molding kit. That's candid.com/eavesdrop to get 25% off the price of your molding kit. candidcode.com/eavesdrop. Again, don't forget, sorry, you have lovely teeth, but maybe this can help. The other sponsor, second sponsor, we have 2 of them this week, lovely to see, obviously, is none other than another one that's coming back, and that is none other than Calm.com. We talked about this on the Eavesdrop podcast when Hitch and Maniac were on there, but it's pretty much stress is a worldwide epidemic. We're working longer hours, we're inundated with constant news cycles, and we're more connected than ever before. Stress is a part of life, but it can very easily affect your overall well-being. Okay? That's why we're partnering up with Calm, the #1 app to help you reduce your anxiety and stress and help you sleep better. More than 40 million people around the world have downloaded it. If you head over to calm.com/eavesdrop, you will get 25% off a Calm premium subscription, which includes guided meditations on issues like anxiety, stress, and focus, including a brand new meditation each day. There are also sleep stories, which are bedtime stories for adults. Haven't heard a single one yet, because I just do the guided meditations, but I'm kind of curious now to see what it is that adult stories are all about. Head to the magical lavender fields of southern France with Stephen Fry, or explore the moonlit jungles of Africa with Leona Lewis, okay? I went completely the other way. They have soothing music and more. Right now, Eavesdrop listeners get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/eavesdrops. That is calm.com/eavesdrop. Get unlimited access to all of Calm's content today at calm.com/eavesdrop. Get calm and stop stressing, Sark. Let's get back to it. We were talking about the transcendence of human evolution when it came to YouTube standards back then to where they are now.
Yeah. He
because you beat him in the Halo and he beat you in the Call of Duty, or vice versa.
Yeah. Like I wasn't a pub stomping like what was the standard on YouTube. Respawn, right? But yeah, I played games all the time, so it wasn't. It was enough for people to be like, okay, if he has an opinion about gaming, we don't need to just like ignore that or whatever. It's like this dude knows what he's talking about at the very least, and that's all I really wanted. Because the structure of Respawn initially, it changed a lot, right? So Hutch and then later Nanners came in, and as it became less and less about the call-outs, right? We did that for a long time, but even when we were still doing it, it was morphing into a more of an improv-based deal. Yeah. But the structure of the show, if you like, the producer, half of my brain will tell you that it was simply, and if you boil it all down, it was 2 gaming personalities that you the audience, are very familiar with. Even possibly you could call them famous at the time, trapped with a psychotic. That's like that was the early Respawn formula, right? It was, I'm insane and I am and Hutch and Nanners are trapped with me, and then I'm just riffing and they don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, and that was like the formula, right? It was we never stated that. That's just sort of the shape that it took out of necessity, because I felt that was like the best model for what we had. Because Hutch and Nanners weren't necessarily comedians or actors or anything, but their reactions were so genuine and fun that if I stepped in as sort of an instigator, it became sort of an entertaining thing. So that was the early Respawn. Call-outs while I harassed them about shit and made them uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you did a really good job at that.
Yeah. Poor Nanners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than anyone, poor Nanners. Because he's been wholesome his whole... I don't know about his life behind closed doors or whatever, but in the public eye, he never swore. He never interacted with negativity. No comments. No, he made it a point. Not only did he make it a point, but he was sort of like this evangelist towards making other creators never engage in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He said, just ignore it. Just ignore it. And I'm like, how? I can't fucking ignore it. Other people are reading it. He's like, well,
he hit the ground running though.
He did.
Respawn. Yeah, he did some pretty gnarly shit on Respawn with us. But he was also, Nanners exploded in popularity, and so he became the one that was like, if I could make him squirm, then it was gold. So yeah, and that formula changed over time, right? Like, because eventually they went off to do their work on their personal channels, and APL came in, and the whole dynamic changed. In my opinion. Those are the best years, the APL years, because of the variables that were in play. Nanners and Hutch weren't totally happy at Machinima.
Yeah,
it showed, and also they weren't as, over the years it had blown up. There was tons of people out there doing this, tons of big names. Initially they were the two, they weren't the only guys doing it, but they were like the headliners.
They were the first ones to reach that level of success.
Right. And so they had that going for them as far as like the show's value, right? Like they were the famous guys. And then once that playing field started to level out, and they wanted to go do their own stuff, we changed things around. We brought APL in. Eventually, finally we got Nanners, and I really wanted them out because they wanted out. Yeah. And
I was really mad that they picked APL over me. No bullshit.
Yeah.
I think you and me would have murdered it. I did.
We could have. Yeah. Boy, you would be a lot
darker because of how hot it is over there?
Yeah, you would be not as well off now. I would have ruined your life.
Can you imagine? Because at one point I was like, man, I wish I could be like with them just fucking creating content. I was like, I think I'm funny enough to keep up and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, OpTic.
Dude, OpTic would have withered. Oh man, what if you hadn't had your kid because of that career choice? Then essentially, I killed your baby.
Yeah.
God.
Imagine that. You literally were the contraceptive that anybody
You would live in like some shitty efficiency unit somewhere, opening your fridge with your foot. Fuck, I'm so sorry, dude.
Well, that didn't happen. Luckily. No. Tell me about Horror Alley. Who came up with the name and where was it? I visited it, but I don't think I ever walked through it because I went to the first offices where it was you walked in the bullpen and then you walked upstairs to your room. And I was telling Maddie before you walked in, I warned him, I'm like, listen, this is a big human being that's coming in here. And I remember the first time I walked in to see you in person and you like stood up behind your desk, and I remember telling Maddie, I'm like, I literally had to like look up and I couldn't believe how fucking big you were.
Yeah. 6'4".
How much do you weigh?
I'm not doc.
You're looking kind of fit, man.
I'm not doc. Well, that's because that's because I packed the fat on in all the right spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put on 15 pounds of titty, I would say.
Yeah. During the pregnancy.
In the last couple of years. Yeah. That was the place though. That was the office. Horror Alley, basically, I think it was Gower. We were just off Gower in LA. That's not where Machinima ended up, but
no, I'll tell you
there
where
was a few offices.
Do you know where they ended up? In Burbank. Across the street from the ESL studio.
Yeah, I went there to host a Gears thing. Yeah. And when I went across the street, there was a building with a Machinima logo painted on it, and I'm like, what tagger?
Yeah.
Like, God, get a life. And then I was like, oh, that's their house. That's like the Machinima house.
Did you go pee on the door? On the door handle?
No. I was like, dude, I know too many people there, but I was persona non grata there, so I just stayed across the street. And was like,
just looking.
Yeah.
Did you stand across the street just for a couple hours, just staring, and then you just see what happened, just waving at people?
No, I had actual work to do. So fuck them. Like, it was. Horror Alley was just outside of that Gower space. We called it that because that was Hollywood's.
Yeah.
People go to Hollywood and they're like, I'm going to see stars. And maybe you'll get on a bus and go see where the stars live. Maybe. That's even questionable, by the way, if you go on those tours. Half of it is bullshit. But Hollywood's disgusting and you will see no famous people. They avoid Hollywood like the plague. And so there was like trannies just up and down. Now, it's on us that we just immediately associate. They looked like prostitutes, but whatever. So we called it Horror Alley because that back road was like just disgusting. And that's where we ended up shooting because we just simply had nowhere to shoot. Yeah. That was the best we could do. So
you guys didn't say, you guys purposely said, we're going to go shoot all this outside because there's machines going on, phones are going off. People are just walking around.
Yeah, which is why the valet guys, remember the valet guys were in the videos every now and then?
What did you call, what was one of them?
What was his name?
Mario? Julio?
I forget.
Anyway, but they were
they were always in it because the parking lot, we were just shooting out there. Yeah. Because there was no studio space and we're saying the most vulgar shit imaginable, so we don't want to be in the office. Yeah. Eventually when Inbox got its the set that people are familiar with and there was a place we could shoot, but at the time we were just finding wherever we could and trying to mix it up a little. So what's wild is that some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best, most creative videos came from there. When you and Hutch got into that bloody fucking fight, way ahead of its time. I mean, it was perfect for that time, but something like that nowadays would fucking bang. You know what I'm saying? It would really, really go well. I can't believe we've never thought about having Scumpy fight like Crim6 or something in an action movie-esque sort of. Is Scump lifting again?
No. He says he's not lifting ever again, or for the time being, because it makes him. He needs to be in his nerd body in order to be the best Call of Duty player. Okay, yeah. So he's given up on that.
Muscles get in the way.
Yeah, muscles do get in the way, man. Believe it or not, muscles attract women. Women sometimes
interfere with your shit.
Bitches,
dude.
What are you gonna? Can't live with them. Can't live without.
Can't game with them. Can't lose without them.
I don't know. Yeah. What is if you were to round up your story at Machinima? What is the worst, the best, and the most you've ever made somebody laugh there? So we'll start with the worst. Just get the bullshit out of the way. What's the worst part about Machinima?
Worst part about Machinima was the uphill battle for the last year there, just to get things done and to move forward. Yeah. So this is well after Hutch and Nanners have moved back to YouTube on their own. I'm with APL. I finally have convinced Machinima. I'm like, dude, we're buried. So Respawn, as videos as views started to descend and other studios were coming up, like Maker and all them, the desperate ploys to stay relevant by Machinima was just upload more vids. We need more views, and we need those numbers to tell people that are going to buy the company. That was all they wanted to do, was sell the company for billions and billions of dollars. That's what they wanted. They're like, we want $1 billion buyout or whatever. So that was their goal. And to get anything done. So at the time, Respawn, we were uploading 35. We weren't, but programming, the team was uploading by direction from on high, 35 videos a day. And we're doing, Inbox was every Monday. So if you, figure that, you're looking at, 250 videos. We're every 250th, every 300th video. And I was like, dude, this is, no one's standing out. There's no one can stand out on this, in this storm. Yeah. So I had finally like been pushing and pushing and pushing to break us off onto our own channel, Team Respawn.
Yeah.
And that battle, it was such an uphill battle. It took so long and so much effort. I was spending all my time in meetings trying to get this shit done. And finally, when it was done, we weren't even really given time for it. I mean, it didn't blow up or anything, but we also we weren't given the time to grow it, because essentially I was seeing what people were doing on their personal channels, and I'm like, that's what we need to be doing. We need to be doing our shit where it's inbox and then us playing games, just like I'm doing now. Eventually I was like, dude, I'm gonna bail. That was the worst. That last year was the worst.
Yeah.
It felt like, what's the Greek guy? Sisyphus, I think? I forget. The dude who pushes the rock up the hill, and at the top of the hill it always rolls back down, right? Like, and he's doomed to do this forever. That's what it felt like, just this constant...
Aren't those dung beetles? I don't think it was a Greek guy.
Oh, the Greek...
It's a dung beetle.
Okay, well then what about the dude who always dips his head to drink the water, and the water recedes, and then he tries to eat the fruit and it pulls away? How about that?
That's an ostrich.
Is that a fucking dung beetle?
No, that's the ostrich.
It's an ostrich?
The ones that put their heads on the ground?
That's not an ostrich. Ostriches never, yeah.
Who
Ostriches put their heads in the ground.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, but not in the water, you're saying. Got it. It's religion. It's one of those things. All right, happiest, and we're not done. I have a ton of questions.
Okay, yeah, go.
What time do you have to be back home?
Oh, no, I got all the time in the world. Yeah,
okay, so what is your best moments there?
Best moments. My personal best moments were after the Inside Gaming Awards. Basically finishing my parts of those, because I'd been sort of pulled in in a sort of a Ryan Seacrest style capacity.
Oh yeah.
And that was some of the hardest shit I've ever done. Like, that was...
We talked about that last week with Hutch, and how you were so easily comfortable in doing those questions. I couldn't even talk to you at those events, because you were just... Cameras on you, you're at the red carpet welcoming every single fucking person that was walking in.
So yeah, those were so hard, and they gave me lots of freedom. So to Machinima's credit, they gave me tons of freedom. I could do pretty much anything I wanted, but that came with... So there was like a time when, the guy behind the camera, the producer, he's giving me like this, like... He's like, we don't have anybody. I'm standing there, and we don't have anybody to talk to. And he's like, just
stretch it out.
Go. And I would have to do that sometimes. Like most of those things is like, stretch it out. Your next interview is on the red carpet, and they're taking a little longer. You got to go for a few minutes. I'd have to do that, for like 25 minutes. Just fill air for half an hour, where it's like, oh, dude, it was so hard. And so... I would finish those, and then I would just go home, and like, there was no partying for me. No. It was just go home and like wipe out, because that's like, that mental effort is just brutal. But it felt so good to be like, dude, host. After that, not just the host, but to be like, dude, I pulled it off.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
but
I did it again.
Yeah, I got away with it. I snuck out. Those are like the most satisfying, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
The hardest you've ever laughed with the Machinima Respawn crew? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember what I think is the funniest bit we ever did, at least personally, but it's one that never made air. Yeah.
Go on.
It was I mean, if it didn't make air.
Yeah. It won't make
this is a sponsored podcast.
No, don't worry about it. And,
no, I won't do anything too crazy, but
yeah.
It was it's not that insane. The bit was, the inbox question was, do you guys have a word that bothers you? Is there a word that bothers you? And the example was moist. A lot of people don't like the word moist or whatever. And so So I had already conceived of what I was going to do because I'd seen the question.
Yeah.
Hutch and Nanners, I showed it to them so that they could. Sometimes we would like get eyes on this stuff so that they could
Prepare.
put something together, and so they did theirs. I forget what it was, and then it came it was my turn, and I said like the word that what did I say? I was like, you know what bothers me, and then the word was like the N word, right? Yeah. And Hollywood nearly dropped the fucking camera, and Nanners looked like he'd seen his dead ancestors rise up out of the ground in front of him, and Hutch turned his back, so he was like crying, facing his back away from the camera. And then I knew that this was gonna kill, so I was like, the thing about Nunu that I hate is, and I went on this whole spiel about it, and then I played dumb at the end and was like, oh no, not like that. The word, so the whole thing. But I dropped the N-bomb probably 7 times on this bit.
Yeah.
And fuck, it's somewhere on a hard drive with Hollywood somewhere, I'm sure. But dude, you can imagine that we submitted that shit to our bosses.
No, you didn't.
He watched the first one. He sees me do it, and I'm waiting in the corner, and I'm just like, here it comes. And then it happens, and he just hits spacebar. And he looks at me, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know. He pushes play, pushes pause again. Yeah. He's like, dude. Anyway, yeah. That one I would not pull off now. No one could get away with that shit now. But that was that's the one that got away.
Man, if Hollywood for whatever reason's watching this, please send me a DM. Is he still on Twitter? I don't even know if he's still on Twitter. I know I followed him. He was like
delete it.
Lost Angels or something. Hit me up because I wanna know what, like, he was the true eavesdrop in every single one of those scenarios, right? Because he was there to listen to it all. I remember you guys were sitting outside those little benches on it was in West Hollywood.
Yeah,
and
the second office.
Yeah, the second office, and you guys were sitting outside, and you guys couldn't shoot a segment for about an hour, I think, because you guys were just like crying at the shit that you were saying.
Right.
All right, so the best is you getting to do that, and then that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I have tons of good memories. That's just one that sticks because it never made it.
Yeah. So what about why'd you pick Texas? What's the deal with that? When did you move to Texas? Why Texas? And welcome to Texas. I mean,
you're in like Dallas-ish.
Yeah, 35 minutes north of Dallas, in a town called Frisco.
Okay.
Which is called Frisco because it was the halfway point between New York and San Francisco. So the Pilgrims or whoever, the railroad went down south like this and then up towards San Fran.
Okay.
You can fact check that if you guys want. But
Frisco.
Yeah.
Is it nice there or is it shitty like Houston?
No. Houston is no. You know, Houston was supposed to be one of the options because of the Overwatch League thing. We have the Houston Outlaws. But I visited Frisco and I fell in complete love with it. So much so that when this whole thing was happening, as you know, I sold the majority of
Yep.
How did you take those news? So show them what you got there.
Oh, dude. Hutch left OpTic.
Yeah.
But I never did.
No, you did not. Look at that. Steel Series, Evil Controllers, Gamer Grub, Pandora Hosting. Now we're talking. Like, oh my God, Sark, what the fuck happened? Look at the sleeve.
Look at how big the name is on the back.
Look at the sleeve. That sleeve. What happened there?
Oh shit.
You've been wearing it to sleep again.
Dude, I don't know. I gotta ask Atlas if he's been pooping in my drawers again. What happened to my jersey, dude?
I don't know.
Well,
that's an original 2010. I have mine. Fwiz has his white one.
Really?
But as far as I know, that is it. Nobody else has the originals.
Really?
So there's only, from my knowledge, there's only like 5 in existence of the originals.
Yeah, I've saved this, and this has made it through a bunch of moves.
Yeah.
And each time Mrs. Sark is like, that is an ugly shirt.
Yeah.
Are you going to get rid of that? And I'm like, no, dude, this stays.
Oh, man, that's so crazy.
I have one that's more updated. I feel like it has a 3/4 length sleeve or a longer sleeve.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
This is the gem right here.
You know what's crazy is that for, I believe, 6 years, Red used to design all of our jerseys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Every year he would design them, and then little by little we just started to get...
Red beef. He's the other. He's like the half of the Cupquake.
Yeah, half
machine.
of the Cupquake. Yeah. Tiff Cupquake.
Yep.
Anyway, so Texas. So Frisco is amazing, by the way. So it was so good that I brought Liv and Jude, my daughter Jude, my wife. I brought them and they fell in love with it. But we were in uptown Dallas at that point because we got an apartment there where we house hunted. And they loved uptown. They're like, oh my God, we can walk everywhere. It was awesome. But with the amount of dogs that we have, we just couldn't get a place there. So we moved up to Frisco, which is just as expensive as some of the other locations. But it is amazing. It's like this little metroplex. And the Cowboys headquarters are there. Toyota's headquarters, and more importantly, Jamba Juice's headquarters is there. The PGA just moved there. It's incredible.
This is like the Beverly Hills of Dallas?
I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think Highland Park is that. Highland
Park. Okay.
Yeah, Highland Park's where Mark Cuban and all the billionaires live. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. So I picked Texas because 1, I was born in Texas. 2, I'm a big bass fisherman, and there's a lot of lakes in my area.
You're still doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very, not as much as I'd like to. And then lastly, because I wanted to get away from Chicago weather. 24 winters is more than enough for me.
Yeah.
What's your excuse?
So I moved. So I moved here. One thing we didn't cover earlier is I moved around a lot when I was a kid. So like K through 12, I probably went to 19 schools. Like we moved a ton.
Why?
Because my dad, I don't know. Who knows? My dad's a gypsy or something. Okay. I don't know. He just
a Mormon gypsy
constantly. Yeah. There was always a reason, but I don't know. He was originally from Texas though. So eventually. I mean, like I said before, I left them in Oregon and moved to San Diego and been doing my own thing. And I'm still I love my whole family, all my siblings, everything. So they eventually made their way back, my mom and my dad, to Texas. Mm-hmm. And they moved to Houston to be near my brother who works at an oil company down there. Okay. And he's my youngest.
Yes.
And he's just starting a family, and they were like grandparenting, and they don't mind moving. They've been doing it all their life. So they're like, we're going to go move down, be by him, help him out. So we had a twofold reason mainly to move to Texas. A, it's cheaper than LA. LA is just killer.
Texas, same thing.
Yeah. And being close to family.
Grandparents, yeah. I like Houston. I know that we made fun of it a little bit before we started, but I do like Houston. Austin, I've
Houston's like Dagobah, like when Luke crashes his X-Wing into Yoda's swamp. That's Houston. And anyone visiting Houston is only there because their shit broke down and they're fucking stuck
on their way somewhere.
In that horrible, stinking pit.
That was so funny.
Just kidding. I love you, Houston.
Yeah. What did you say earlier? That it's it's smog and not clouds as you're landing?
Yeah. You come out of Austin up in the hill country, beautiful like trees and shit, and then you just descend. Yeah, it's like you're crashing into the swamp planet, dude. You descend through this layer of muck, and then you're into this. I hate it. I have allergies too, which kill me in Austin, but they doubly kill me in Houston.
Yeah,
so.
No, the allergies this year have killed me. What were you saying about the dust from Africa going into Houston?
Yeah, so my dad's really, we were talking about this a little before. My dad is really allergic. I inherited that from him. So thanks, Pops.
And your height, so.
Yep. Actually, I think I got that from my tiny mom, because her brothers are all like Nordic Vikings. Yeah. So I think tiny mom brought in the, from somewhere. I don't know. They're all blonde and giant. But my dad is suffering from like really severe allergies. Like it's impacting him like negatively. And he's too old for this shit. You know, he needs to be living somewhere.
What did you say? This is going to be the transition?
It's going to They're gonna carve like an allergic poem on his headstone because he's gonna die of sneezing. But he's going to an allergist there, and they said that Houston has this transatlantic breeze that blows African dust over, and it like activates all the like puny American immune systems.
Yeah,
so.
I suffer from it, man, and I suffer from it bad. So why Austin and not Dallas? I mean, you said why not Houston? Why not Dallas?
I don't know. Just Austin seemed like a fun place. We knew some people already that were there, and
the fun house.
Yeah. Chilled was here. I didn't know that Nanners was here.
I was just gonna, it's written right here. Yeah. Did you coordinate with Nanners?
No. In fact, I hit him up just saying what's up after I got here, and he's like, dude, we're 15 minutes south of you. So I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. How do you think, like, I don't even know who ended up owning Machinima at the end. I mean, I know that the Debevois, including Fouis Debevois, were the owners of Machinima, but how do you think that they got to that place, man, where, think about all of the talent that left that place, or that was incubated in that place. Yeah. Red versus Blue was one of their shows. Boom, blew up. RTX, fucking massive.
Yeah.
RTX, we're partnered with them actually for this podcast, and we're going to be at RTX this year. Tickets information is going to be in the description down below. Maddie, do not forget, tickets description down below. Use code Hecz and you get some percentage off, I think. But so yeah, RTX, right? It goes on to blow up that.
Tons of huge.
Think about Funhouse, right? Like the amount of talent that they let go of, including you, Hutch, and C-Nanners, was an atrocity of a business move. As a businessman, I can never imagine not fighting tooth and nail to be able to keep the Scumpies and the Nateshots and the Crimsixes of the world on my team, right? I just couldn't.
If you think about it, like it worked, Machinima worked amazingly as long as they were the only show in town. But as soon as other people started to sort of step up on the network and the production side of things, the wheels just started to come off, and that just shows that their model was not sustainable. That was the thing. I've always said this about Machinima. The thing that like ruined them is an inability to evolve. So they would always preach to us like, what did they call it? I think they called it a hyper growth. Mm-hmm. They're like, this is a hyper-growth company. I remember that we were at a big company-wide dinner at the Geisha House in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And we loved and loathed those because it was like so businessy, but also you got to hear such a like beautiful, company jargon.
Yeah.
It was fun. But they gave I think Alan gave a speech, Debevois, that was like, it was Aaron. And he was like, this is a hyper-growth company. And if, you guys we love having you along for the ride, but he's like, if this is too fast or too, if it's too intense, this might not be the place for you. Kind of like, like thumping his chest and being like, dude.
Like
and I was like, that in a way that's right. But in a way, you are so not hyper growing.
Yeah.
Like you've attached yourself kind of to a hyper growth field
ecosystem, yeah.
But you are not
evolving
to.
Yeah. What a sad. It's got to be one of the saddest stories out there, the Machinima, because it was such a great thing. They had YouTube gaming entertainment by the balls, and all they had to do, and look, whatever, business details is business details, but all they had to do was just allow the creators to sort of like lead the ship as to where they were going to go without shoving, say this next.
Also, it was just a lack of that. They just didn't move. Like, they should have addressed the perpetuity contracts.
Yep.
I mean, I give them a pass on those in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't think it was evil. I think they just sucked. Yeah. Right? Everything was moving so fast. I honestly don't believe it was an evil business move.
I do.
But only a short amount of time later, when you haven't addressed that, then it's evil.
Yeah.
Like you've turned into a somewhat innocent lapse of like awareness becomes evil as soon as you're aware that this is shitty, and then it just kept they just kept doubling down because they should have addressed that before it ever became a thing that people even talked about.
Yeah, I just don't think that they ever like looked at it. And so for you guys who are listening, the contracts at Machinima at one point had perpetuity clauses in there that pretty much means that you're with them forever and ever, no matter what happens, and they're going to pay you X amount for whatever. Like, you know, it was just like set in stone almost, and they never really addressed it. And you know, when other companies started to come in and compete, I'm not saying that those companies didn't have those same perpetuity contracts because it was very Hollywood-esque contract for them to have, but they just took advantage of that and try to like you know make it like, oh, I can't believe this.
Dude, Manners and Hutch's contracts locked their personal channels up, so when they got hired to be part of Machinima, their personal channels they gave up their channels forever. And that became, when they were leaving, that became another thing that I was spending all my time on, was trying to extract their channels from the company's fingers so that they could go do it and make ad revenue on their...
What's nuts about that, though, is that, you know, C-Niners didn't upload for a reason. Like, while he was working there, he only uploaded once a week because he knew that revenue was going to go to Machinima anyway. So, like, the fact that he was almost forced to neglect his channel the way that he did was super irresponsible by them to not just, like, let it go. Look, obviously, you know, Manners and Hutch did sign those contracts, did read those contracts, and they still did it. I mean, they knew what they got into, but at the same time, like, evolutions happen all the time, and you have to be able to bend and sort of apply your business to a modern day, you know, situation.
Totally, yeah.
And you don't want the biggest fucking voices at the time, or, you know, some of the biggest voices in gaming with a history deep rooted in the upbringing of YouTube gaming to have anything bad to say about you.
No, Machinima didn't give a shit though.
No,
they were like, dude, we're the king. Yeah, all you squawking peasants. Read it and weep. I mean, that's what it ended up being. Initially, it was just like, we're the only show in town, and so here's sort of a boilerplate contract, and we own you silly gamers. And
then Game Station came along.
And
then all these other like things started to come along that made it a little bit more accessible for people to make a living off of their own channels, which ended up, you know, obviously being the best thing ever. What are your days like nowadays? Like, what do you do? I mean, you're uploading one video a week. You don't stream, right? Not that often.
No, I want to. It's just hard for me to figure out how to fit that in when I'm like
editing 8
trimming
hours
Casio Ortez's head onto Keyboard Cat for a day. You know, it's hard. It's hard to fit in actual production. I want to stream. That's part of my goals this year, is to get the channel going in a little bit of a rhythm. And get a stream going at least. Because even all the people I know at Twitch are like, dude, what is your problem? Like, why are you not streaming at least once a week? And I'm like, I know. Streaming's stressful to me.
Does the wife work?
She just started picking up. She's moving into like birthing and doing like doula. Are you familiar with what a doula is?
Is that a midwife?
Kind of. It's like a midwife is more has more to do with the actual birth, and the doula is like someone who helps you through the process and helps you like. You know,
I heard Casey Neistat's wife talk about a doula.
Yeah. So Katie's getting into that, which is cool because she really like took to the whole like birthing world. All the ladies that she met, and so like Atlas and Aurora were home births, and the midwife. I was not into it. I was like, dude, you say midwife to me, and I'm picturing like a bone in the nose and like a boiling cauldron and. Like chanting and shit, but
vegetables.
That's not how it is at all, actually. Dude, the midwives came in there, blew my mind. They can't. Our room got turned into like a hospital room, and they were out there sleeping. Like Katie's in labor, and they're out there like taking a nap. It was like the soldiers in Aliens, where they're sleeping on the drop ship, and they're like, woo! Somebody wake up Hecz and all this shit. I'm like, is that okay? What was that sound she's making? And the midwife on the floor is like, she's fine. Sit down. I'm like, dude, you guys are badasses. Anyway, yeah. So Katie's getting into that scene. So she just started dueling.
Yeah, dual wielding. How old is Atlas now?
Dual wielding. He is 4, turning 5 in like the summer. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I could have sworn he was like this. I don't know what. My time is like, my timelines are so skewed.
Dude,
to like
same here.
When the last time I saw you, I don't know. It's fucking wild. All right, listen.
It's like I'm in prison sometimes. Like I look at my fingernails and I'm like, didn't I just clip these?
Yeah, dude,
Why
I did that
get
this
these
morning.
claws?
I did it this morning. And I got halfway. I still have these 3 to go.
That's like that's like such a solitary confinement passage of time. Like time's passing because your fingernails are growing. Holy shit! What is our?
I need you to tell, and we'll close it out with this. Tell me the fight story, or the Fight Club story that you started.
Dude, you guys love the fight. Everyone loves the Fight Club story.
I do because the way you told it was fucking like it didn't scar me, but it like positively left a fond memory of me fucking just laughing because of how it ends. And I want to make sure that it ends the way that I have it written right here.
Me getting roundhoused in the face.
That's how it ends. I just with the yeah. So tell us.
Okay. That's the end of that story. Oh yeah. All right, so I mean, this was Crazy Josh era, watching tons of movies. We watched Fight Club, and we were like, a lot of people did this after Fight Club. They started their own little things, and we were like, dude, we should fight. Let's fight. We never fought each other, and so we fought each other, and we went like hammer and tongs.
Right, hold on. So you watch the movie, a day goes by, and then you're just sitting around not doing shit. And you're like, you know what?
There was something to the philosophy that attracted us, where it's like, you don't
really know somebody,
right?
Yeah,
or you can hit another level with somebody once you've fought them.
Yeah,
right. It seems so dumb. It's totally true though.
Yeah,
yeah. So we fought each other, and then we were pretty banged up after that.
So tell me, where was it? In your apartment?
Yeah. Okay. And we were smashing shit. Our apartment was already crazy. Just to give you a taste. So Crazy Josh, he slept in a coffin because he was, I don't know, because he was crazy. But we had movie posters over all the walls, right, and ceiling, and anywhere there was a weapon on the poster, we'd cut the drywall out and we'd hidden a real weapon. Yeah. So in case somebody, in case Red Dawn happened and this, or Jason Voorhees caved in through the sliding door, right? You just you could run to the Desperado poster with Antonio Banderas with the gun on his head, and you could just punch through it, and you could grab a flare gun that we'd stashed in there. There was weapons all throughout this apartment. It was insane. It was like a weird doomsday preppers funhouse. So the place was already trashed, and we'd fought each other, and it was like, dude, that was like pretty dope. We don't want to. That was just us fighting. So we decided to get like MMA gloves because our hands were jacked after that. And
so you guys were really like punching each other, like
and we were going like full tilt.
You're a big ass dude. How big was fucking Crazy Josh?
So he's not as big as me, but he's built like a prehistoric creature. So he's very he looks like Juggernaut. So it's like he's not buff, but he's just so thick, and his Cro-Magnon overhanging skull, and it's just. He was a menace.
His eyebrows come all the way out.
Totally, yeah. He has it's like he's wearing a suit of armor under his skin. So we bought MMA gloves, and we bought mouth guards. Yeah. And then we would do that every now and then somebody, I forget who it was, somebody was over, and Josh and I didn't even think about we have a guest, we probably shouldn't fight. We were like, well, this is the time when we fight, so you might want to scoot aside. We moved everything out of the way, and then this guy was like, dude, that was rad. Can I do one? And so we were like, yeah. So he was a friend of ours, so we did that, and it grew. Like he invited some people over, and then somebody would like express interest in something when they heard the story at work or whatever. So it was literally like Fight Club. Like, do you remember there's a part where the maitre d' in Fight Club's he's bringing like the check to
I
Ed
recommend
Norton.
Not to have the
And they look at each other and they're both all beat up and they don't say anything. That was me at Olive Garden, just like hammered and serving people and making up stories about why I'm all beat up. And it turned into a whole thing. It turned into our apartment was full and we were like blaring music, like full. I mean like 30 people, and it would always be Josh and I fought. And then our little thing, since we were like the Tyler Durden Jack split, right? Our little thing was we would always fight, and then I would pick somebody, he would pick somebody randomly.
Yeah.
And then they would have to fight. You didn't know. And then they would pick people.
Yeah.
And we just shared the gloves. And what happened eventually is we just would buy unboiled mouth guards, which hurt like a motherfucker, but we didn't want people's teeth getting like messed up. So
you were responsible.
Yeah, I mean, we had ours, but we just had a big like popcorn bowl full of mouth guards, and if it was your turn, you just had to like crank one in and go for it. But it grew out of the apartment. I mean, I remember at one point this wrestler picked up Josh and ran, and it was just like a movie. I was off to the side, and I'm like fucking all just destroyed. And he picks up Josh, and he runs, and they went through the wall of the living room into his coffin bedroom, and like 30 people are like, ah! They like all charge to see what's happening in the other room, and they're just like hammering the shit out of each other on top of his coffin.
Where did Crazy Josh fuck?
Dude, in the coffin. He kept a book in there so that he could breathe, and one night he rolled over and knocked the book out, and I woke up to him like
screaming.
Yeah, because he didn't know where he was, and he was running out of air, and like an idiot.
I want to tell you who's crazy. Okay, it wasn't fucking Josh. It was his fucking roommate. Fucking living.
I loved it, man. I loved it. It grew out from there to too many people to the parking lot of the gas station where he worked graveyard. So I worked like dinners at Olive Garden, and then I would go hang out with him at the gas station down the street.
Yeah.
And eventually it was big. This was a big thing. There was like gangbangers and like San Diego military, Navy, Marines guys had heard about this, and it turned into a whole thing. And the cops would come. Initially, they were like, what the fuck's going on? And then they would see, because the other rule we had is you had to hug at the end of the fight. Yeah. Which is sort of silly. But
no, that's good.
The cops would see, like this, like,
camaraderie
hardcore gang members.
Sportsmanship.
Yeah. Like doing this thing in a controlled environment. And eventually they were, like, they
fighting
would pull
firefighters?
up. Oh. No. The cops would pull up and just watch. So the guys who were rolling around in the police cruisers would roll up and they'd turn the headlights on and they'd be hanging out and just kicking it with us. It was awesome. And that stopped when Josh's boss eventually saw a security tape of what looked like Braveheart going on. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? So we moved it back to the apartment. And at that point, that's near the end of the story. That's where real fighters had started to get wind of it. Like, you can hold your own, like especially if you can unplug, if you can go a little nuts, you can really hold your own with just about anybody, unless they're a trained fighter, and then it's you're not.
So you had ringers coming in.
Yeah. So like really hardcore gang guys, law enforcement and Marines, you could hold your own against them. They didn't have any they had some training, but it wasn't like real official training. But then when we finally moved back to the apartment, that's when the real legit dudes, like the guys from the
MMA studios
were coming out. And that's the end of the story, is I was fighting I had been picked to fight again.
BJ Penn
it was a Thai kickboxer. He looked just like Sagat from fucking Street Fighter. That should have been my warning, dude. He's all taped up. He's wearing like the high split pants, and I'm like,
that didn't give it away.
No, because we were always like, dude, anything goes, and it was really more about you cheer louder for the loser, right? It's more about getting beat up than winning the fight. That's what the whole point of this whole. That's kind of what Fight Club's about, right? It's like beating yourself down a bit and Dude, this dude, I remember the way I tell the story from my perspective is he's doing his like Street Fighter idle animation. And I'm like, are you ready? And somebody pushes play on the techno. It's like, I'm like, okay, here we go. And I remember he was looking at me and we had eye contact. And I was just thinking like, all right, it's the guy. You move. And then it was like, and then time froze. And we never stopped looking at each other, but his heel is here. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, as I had like time froze and I had this moment when I'm like, how's he bent like that? It's not humanly possible.
It was like an anime
and he had
scene.
done just some type of fucking whip around kick. And I had just that moment to be like, holy shit. And then it just goes... And it was the day, that was the day he kicked me right in the, right on the cheek.
Yeah.
And that was the day that I'd invite, Katie had heard about this. I was dating her.
Yeah.
And I had invited her to this, and she sees me. It looks like
so she saw
it looks
this.
like a dude driving a nail into a board. Just, I was like, and all I remember is seeing the heel, and then I was beautiful, like like rainbows and shimmering shit, and like I couldn't hear anything. It was just like you died in Far Cry 5, right? Like people sing. And then when I came to, people were like shaking me, and Josh was above me, and he had me like by my collar, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, yeah!" He was so hype, and I'm fucking like my face is caved in. He kicked me so hard when I would laugh, bubbles would come out my tear ducts. Yeah, or if I exhaled, like. Bubbles, air would come out my tear ducts because my sinuses and everything got fucking smashed. Yeah.
Do you still see any any remnants of it?
No. But I hung it up after that. I was like, dude, and scene on this like 4-month adventure, and that was it. I don't think it lasted much longer either because there was a few guys that would come out like the jiu-jitsu dudes would come out and they'd be like, because we would always say no rules. You can grapple. You got to wear the gloves. You got to wear the mouthpiece. You got to hug. And initially, it was like people would complain if they like, I don't want to get hit. I just want to wrestle. And it's like, too bad. You're probably going to get hit.
Yeah.
And then the fighters came out and they're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for letting me drive down here 4 hours to film this 1 hour
I'm
show,
glad.
man.
We're kind of neighbors.
We are neighbors, man. You got to make your way up there at some point. I'm gonna be down here. Where is RTX in Austin? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you do any work with the RTX guys?
I haven't. I mean, I know a few of obviously the Funhouse guys and a few people over there, but I haven't worked with them directly yet. So
no.
Yeah.
Dude, I am. It's a travesty that you don't have your own podcast, man. Because I think sit down for an hour and just have a conversation with somebody, man. I'd appreciate it personally.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, listen. Thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure hanging out and getting to talk to you.
It's super fun.
I'm sad that you're not in Dallas, man, because I'd like to.
We'll come
to chill.
up. We'll come up.
Yeah, please do, man.
To Frisco.
Yeah, Frisco. It's you'll like it. You like it up there. You might move. You might end up moving.
Okay.
Anyway, so again, huge shout out to candidco.com/eavesdrop and calm.com/eavesdrop sponsoring the podcast. Mr. Sark, all of his information is going to be down below. I recommend that you not only go to his channel, but do the research and look at the good old Machinima days highlights. You should upload some of those to your channel.
Dude,
they will be, man.
So, this guy Kaminaji just finished uploading his whole...
The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one.
So, they're all out there.
Yeah. Anyway, so be sure to follow us on Twitter, where you'll find updates from what was it?
Be sure to follow us on Twitter. There you'll find the latest updates from our premiere directors and the Machinima Respawn team.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Later.
Thank you.